Welcome to the Barbell Strikes Back. I'm James McDermott, joined again by Miguel Porter. Miguel, how we doing?
Good. It's a good, quiet weekend. Calm before the storm, I guess.
The storm before the holiday
Right.
is next week is Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Is that going to be a crazy weekend for you? Do you have big plans?
Nothing really planned at the moment, but I mean, it always ends up that way. And I guess it's
Uh-huh.
just beginning of holiday season, which just everything's going on. Everything's busier. People are running around. It's just that time of year.
Yeah, it's this is the time of year where I try not to do unnecessary driving if I can help it. I've not left my apartment at all this weekend. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I have to go anywhere. I have food. I have this, I have that. I could leave and do laundry. Maybe we'll save that for Monday. We're just
Hmm.
not going to open that door, for 2 days. And I think that might be my policy next weekend. It's like, yeah, I could drive out there and see what deals are happening, stuff like that, but I already know when I get there there's going to be too many people. I want to walk down that aisle and everybody is walking weird directions and stuff like it. Is it worth it? Not to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't like people. I do like people. I work with people, Miguel. I just don't like people in those settings. When I
Right.
go to the grocery store, I should be able to push this cart with the least resistance possible. But people, you've seen this. They don't walk in lanes. They
Right.
don't they cut you off. They just go any which way because they're only focused on getting to that point, and they'll just like there'll be a stream of people walking, up an aisle, and you'll have one person just going against the grain, and it's like, what are you doing with this cart?
Yeah.
And you can't pause anywhere. You're like, hey, let me look and see what's going on here, because then there's like someone right here behind you. They want to get in there, or I don't know how this always happens, and it's probably just a weird phenomena. Every place I want to go to get a thing, I have my list. I'm not really deviating from my shopping list. There's always someone right in that spot. How does this happen, Miguel?
Yeah. I mean, there are only a finite, you know, list of options for each person, so you're bound to have some similarities there sometimes.
But it's every single time, Miguel. Every single item. Like it's some, and then I start thinking about it. Like everything we have both done in our lives, me and the other people, have all led us to this point at the exact same time. Like maybe if I didn't leave my house when I did, maybe if I didn't even have this item on my list, but for some reason we have all met. You ever think about things like that? That like
Yeah.
when something, especially when something ridiculous happens, like not only did something ridiculous happen, but we have both spent X amount of time traveling to this location.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see this is why I can't go out in the holidays. But we have Amazon now. Yeah,
That is
Amazon.
true.
There's a huge I'm on the senior newsletter here at the Towers of Colony. The All of the much older tenants have a newsletter that they put out. This is all the people in the 80s, 70s, some 60s. They were all hanging out at the pool, and they asked me if I wanted to be on the newsletter, and of course I want to be on the newsletter and see what's going on. They also post a lot of drama on the
Hmm.
email chain. And their latest battle is against the delivery people who don't bring things to the apartment. They just leave it downstairs in the mailroom or in the front entranceway. So like they have this thing now where it's like there's a number you can call, and they're like you must call, and they'll give you a $5 credit, and they're all about this $5 credit if you call this number and complain in a certain way. So their plan is now to put the hurt on Amazon for as many $5 credits as possible until they start delivering the packages to their doorway.
That is a plan.
And I'm loving reading about it. It's
Yeah.
I every time the email comes in, I'm like, oh yes. I'm not a part of it. I'm not calling to get the $5 credit. Maybe that makes me part of the problem. I'll just go down and get it. But I understand when you're 80 and you don't leave the house often, and you order something and it should be coming to your quote house. That's part of the arrangement here. I see the other side. The delivery people, they're slammed. They
Right. I mean, I used to deliver pizzas, and even then, I mean, I would say that the towers that's a tough one to
Yes.
get to someone's direct apartment. Like there's some where, it's a little bit easier, but the towers is you got to do a lot. And I can't even imagine Amazon packages because I mean, one delivery person probably has like 8 separate throughout all these different floors. It's the
Yeah.
amount of time that it could take. And Amazon is one of those places where they like time their drivers and everything. So
It's
I'm
like a
sure
maze
I'm
in
sure
the tower.
Amazon is fine with giving out those $5 credits, but I don't think the delivery drivers will really be changing the ways.
Probably not. And
Yeah.
it is literally a war every holiday season because the management at the towers doesn't want that to happen either because
Right, because then
they
someone
won't
has to
even
let them
enter.
in
Well,
and
yeah, they
yeah,
won't even enter the building. They'll just open the main entry door and leave tons of packages there. So the management is like, why are you leaving all the packages in the open doorway, especially where they can be taken? So
right.
they're not even getting it to the mailroom.
Mm,
And then when they do get it to the mailroom, now you have packages running down the length of the hallway, bleeding out of the mailroom. And if there's new tenants trying to move in, they have to go in through the entranceway that's connected to the mailroom. They don't want them moving furniture through the front entrance
right.
because that's how the glass doors get broken. So you have to come in through the back way. So it's just a battle between the towers itself against the delivery people, the tenants and whatnot. And I'm just like, I try to get all of my ordering done before then. I'll order a little extra, like my protein powder and stuff, so I don't have to do. I try to get in bulk during the holiday season, so I don't have packages coming in
Right.
down there.
Yeah.
That's just me. Anyways, let's talk CrossFit news here. The Open, it's going to happen.
It is happening for
We
sure.
thought it. We thought it wasn't going to happen for a little bit there. Were you thinking it possibly happen?
No, I figured that it would definitely happen. I think we're still in a realm of who exactly is going to be signing up.
Uh huh.
Um, but yeah, there's no reason for CrossFit to not have
To
it
not do it.
happen. Yeah.
I saw a rumor that someone speculated they could do the Open in a format that they were doing quarterfinals, where it's like, hey, you have from Saturday to Saturday or Saturday to Monday to do these 3 to 5 workouts, and that's it. Just one week of events. I'm glad they didn't do that because that would be a nightmare for affiliates to all of a sudden like you have to. It has its pros and cons. Like it would be a nightmare to get them all in for I guess gyms where you have people who want to do them in a certain order, unless you have to do them in one order, which there's no way to police that.
Right.
And in quarterfinals, people will do the workouts in any order they want, anyways. So that would be a challenge if we're like, hey, we're doing this one on this one on this day, etc. Or for some gyms, it would be nice though, where it's like, okay, now our programming and gym community isn't tied up for 3 to 5 weeks on this thing. And that's why they bumped it down, or part of the reason I imagine they bumped it down from 5 weeks to 3 weeks, because so many people were dropping out weeks 4 and 5. It's like, what are we doing anymore?
Yeah.
Everyone's over the Open already. So 3 weeks is a nice sweet spot. I see the pros and cons on both. I guess this year I'm glad we just stuck with the traditional format.
Yeah, I think the giving the 1 week, I think part of it is you do kind of want the gym to be swept up in the 3 weeks of the open.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how you get more people to sign up. I think if you give them 1 week, it's easier for a person to come up with all the excuses for why this week doesn't work for them to get all these workouts in. So I
And
think
if
you
you're
have,
traveling or something,
right. Like, we last year missed the first week. I mean, meaning like the first few days. Um, we were only able to get in the workout that Monday morning. So yeah, if that was the case and we needed to get 2 more workouts done in like another 2 days, we probably would have opted out completely from doing it. So
yeah. I think from a coaching standpoint, looking at it, not like in a affiliate management standpoint, doing the Open in 1 week where it's now 5 workouts or even 3, definitely I feel increases the instances of people getting hurt
yeah,
because no, I don't think anyone has any business redoing the workouts. It's the dumbest thing in the world to me. It really is. I don't understand it. I understand it, but it's like come on. Like if you did it the way that maybe you should have done it the first time, like, and really like attack the workout, there's your extra reps. And then why put yourself through the hell of some of these workouts for a couple extra reps because of a leaderboard? For the most of us, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, and then you're like, my shoulder hurts, my knees hurt. I shouldn't have done that deadlift box jump workout 4 times. Like back in the day, way before your time, there was one brutal deadlift and box jump workout that already on the first to go was blowing out everyone's back. And of course, they had to do it 2 more times.
Right.
And it was like, why are you doing this? Like, you're not going to the games. And yeah, but I want to be 1,000 more spots up the leaderboard with millions of people or thousands of people that I don't know. Like, so I have bad experiences with it. I don't understand it. It's like, do it and then move on is my philosophy.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, for me, I think a lot of redoing is, I don't know. I think there is just go out and do it to the best of your ability, but there is also knowledge after you do it where you know exactly. I mean, I think it's a product of doing CrossFit over time and like knowing how your body reacts to certain stimuli. But I think when you're in a workout and you go, okay, this started to happen at this point, could I have done something else beforehand to kind of lessen that? Or when will I know when to push? Or even just really simplifying it. Sometimes it's not the worldwide leaderboard, it's your gym leaderboard. And you go, okay, if I get 3 more reps, I beat Mike in this one. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to get
See,
those 3
yeah,
more reps.
but I don't think whatever part of your body that is going to be potentially injured after it is worth beating Mike. So again, like that's the athlete perspective. This is the coach perspective, and it's like I've seen so many times like the real reason you're doing it is your own ego. Like ego gets drawn into it a lot for people on like whether it's personal leaderboard or the worldwide leaderboard or just even themselves. It's like I don't know. I feel like if you were doing CrossFit the way that we would want you to do CrossFit throughout the year, you maybe wouldn't have to retest it if you knew your limits. Like there's some people who do any workout and they game it every single time.
Mm-hmm.
They do it like it is a test. Like all right, I'm going to break it up 5 ways here. I'm going to put the barbell down there. It's like, how about you just try to go unbroken and go for big sets or like allow yourself to fail during the year in workouts. A lot of people are afraid to fail on workouts. And then I think those are the people more likely to have to redo a workout multiple times during the open because you didn't on, let's say Karen popped up during the year. You specifically chopped it up into sets of 20 or 30, like safe sets to make
Right.
sure you can get through it, etc. And game a PR that way instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to do wall balls till it hurts, and then I'm going to try to do a couple more, and I'm not going to put it down until I have to physically put it down. And you got 64 reps, and you've never done 64 reps in a row before. Like, I feel like people should do that more often than to specifically chop it up and game it every time because they're afraid, oh, my pull-ups are going to go away. Well, you should experience that. You should know when your pull-ups go away, and you
Yeah.
should experience them going away, and then figure out what you have to do after that, and then probably scale more throughout the year too to crush the stimulus. I think there's probably a lot of. We used to have this all the time. There'd be people all the time never hit the stimulus, gamed workouts all the time, and then the harsh reality pops up in the open. And those are also, by the way, the people that quit the open a lot too when it's not going their way or they get hurt during the open because they're really pushing now, but they never trained it, during the year.
Right.
Have you seen this? Have you
Yeah,
experienced this?
definitely. I mean, yeah, it's tough not to just because of the way this sport is set up. I feel like there is always just gaming at certain levels, and I think that can trickle down to people who don't need to be gaming.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I know that we've definitely talked about it before in ways of like people get a number of like I should break these up in this, and I agree with the you need to take a little bit more like chances, and like sometimes it's okay to completely blow up, and you
Yeah.
know.
Every workout we do during the year is not your personal Olympics. It's not your open performance right now. This is training. And if you're someone who's, hey, we're gonna do a practice round, and you're like, oh, I can't do that practice round. I'm not gonna have any pull-ups left for the workout. You don't have pull-ups then for the workout,
Right.
more than likely. And that's cue number one. You should scale the number of pull-ups for this workout. The practice round is, if it's affecting you that much, then you're not where you think you need to be. Like, you should be accomplishing whatever the goal is of the practice round, doing it, and then using that knowledge to feed into the workout and how you're going to attack that. Um, get that comment all the time too. Does anyone ever tell that to you? Like, oh, I only have so many of these reps, and I want to save it for the workout. And when they tell you that, are you automatically thinking, okay, well then instead of doing 21-15-9, you should do 15-12-9? Have you been in that situation yet?
Well, I say it all the time. It's so funny for me to say.
You
Um,
say it, but it's not reality for you. I feel.
it's so funny to hear. So that's why I always repeat it, because it's like I'm wasting them. I can't. I only got like 10. I can't do 3 in the practice round, because then now I only got 7 left.
Well, and the thing is, though, it's like, it's not real. It's not a real thing that you're
Right.
wasting them or you're saving it for the practice round. This is something that's polluted everyone's minds in CrossFit. And it's kind of like you said before, it's something that has come from like the sport level and trickled down into the training level. And 99.9% of us are in the training thing. We're doing
Yeah.
the open for fun. We're doing the open to fund the whole thing for like the top 1% or however many it is. Like, and we're doing it to do it along with them because it's a fun thing. But we're wrapping ourselves up too much into this. And you'll get someone who joined the gym, they're like, oh yeah, I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to be able to live a long life. I have this kind of family history. I want to be able to look good in photos, all this stuff. All of a sudden start attacking workouts with the mindset of, well, I need to break that up for my score and all kinds of things. And I can't waste it in the practice. You see how we have gone far from their goals as well on what they told you they wanted to accomplish when they joined the gym a month ago before the open. And now they're
Yeah.
getting swept up in some weird competitive thing. And they used to be a high school athlete, and they're just, and this is what it's perceived as the cool thing to be doing versus the training should be the cool thing to do. Like the workout you're actually doing is the cool thing. It is the sexy thing. It's the thing that's going to set you up for success and not hurt you. Yet it just goes being swept up with the open right away. And now that's going to dominate your whole thing. And now you see that same guy or lady doing handstand push-ups with their arms as wide as possible to shorten the range of motion as much as possible so they can get a faster time and beat Tom, Dick, and Harry, or to just do more than they're actually capable of doing. It's like, no, you don't have handstand push-ups. Just because you're upside down doing a pressing motion doesn't mean you have handstand push-ups.
Right.
And then there is also a little bit of people taking instant gratification and claiming victories when they really don't have victory. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't have the thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's still like some
I'm trying not to
middle
be a party
ground.
pooper, Miguel. I'm trying not to be. But you understand the standpoint I'm taking is
Yeah.
from coaching and virtuosity and long-term development. And I still, as a coach, can get you those little nuggets along the way. But it's when you, as the athlete, not you specifically, but when you, as the athlete, take it to a crazy, unhealthy place. Now, this is where I have to really try to rein you back.
Yeah. And I think part of it is right. I think you can find value in it, but I think there might be an overemphasis on those 3 weeks. Like the workout that we did today, in the notes, it was a retest of something that was done in May. So though it's constantly varied in all of these different workouts, you occasionally retest things. And I think the open is kind of like that, where you really just want to see how you stack up against yourself the year before. And part of it also in class, where, I've been saying it since the open ended, like the open's coming up next year or in this many months. But really, that's why you should take these classes as those testers, where it's like, all right, let me try to go unbroken on this and see how far I get. Let me see how many reps I can add to how many unbroken pull-ups I can do at a time or wall balls at a time, so that when the open comes, you don't have to game in order to get the best score. Your best score is just, I've developed these skills throughout the year. Now I'm better than I was last year.
You have learned through a year what your actual fitness is. It's no surprise to you, and then you use it. You put it to the test.
Right.
You truly redline. You truly do whatever, and then you get right back to training. And that's why I think, like, if you're doing the workout on Saturday or Friday, whenever you do it for the open, you also, you don't give yourself any excuses. You put it all in. Like in so I guess another viewpoint of mine is like, there aren't many sports where you get a redo.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate the redo. It's like, you either do or you don't. And if you don't, you have to accept the don't. And a lot of people can't accept what they perceive as failure, even if it wasn't. But you take that and then you use it and you try to do better next time. You
Yeah.
you sign up for another event, or next year you do it. I feel like the open kind of gives you a little bit of an excuse to not accept that and to not learn from it, to just keep bashing your head against the wall until you get what you want, um, instead of earning it outright. So yeah, and like you're saying, if you do it that way, then you will treat those, like, let's say, a practice round more seriously, and you'll put that work in, and you'll realize that the practice round is still training.
Mm-hmm.
The whole class is training. When you're in Miguel's class and he says, "Okay, we're going to do 10 kip swings in the warm up," we're not doing that just to for the sake of doing it, and then the main piece is the thing you see on the board. The whole hour is the main piece. The whole hour is training, so you should treat it all seriously. If you're doing 30 seconds of push-ups with a downward dog and you purposely pause on the floor for 5 seconds to drown out the clock, and you only did two of them, but Miguel's right next to you and he's moving fluidly for 30 seconds and he does five of them, who's getting more out of each piece of class? Who's actually training?
Right.
And people do that all the time. Like, it's okay if you need to, but if you do that for every little thing, if you half-ass every little thing, and then you only take the main workout seriously, well, you could have been way more prepared for the workout as well. And then what are you going to do when you come in on your own to do you got your buddy coming in to judge you. You barely warm up for the open workout that you're hitting for the second time. And then now you don't get the extra reps. How many times does that happen? We
Right.
see that a lot.
Or
Like,
like quitting halfway through because they know that they're not. Yeah.
again, all right, so there. What a terrible attitude to have. So you blocked off extra time to come in to redo a workout. And then when you see you're not going to do it, you're still training. So now you're just going to quit. Now you're teaching yourself to quit. Why not? Okay, you still didn't do what you had to do. Wallow in your failure for the next 5 minutes and keep working hard for reps. All right, I'm not going to put the wall ball down, or I'm going to try to get another. You can still squeeze some valuable juice out of that fruit, even if you're not going to get the extra reps. Instead, you quit and, like, all right, I'll do it again tomorrow. Awful, awful,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Because then what? All right, I wonder, has anyone done any data on the percentage of retesting and how many people actually get more reps versus who quit, like we're talking about? Is there stuff out there like
Um,
that? And then what's the data on third times and fourth times, if there are fourth times?
I'm sure that there's something, but it would probably be a smaller sample size just because it would have to be self-report, because obviously people are only putting in their best score.
Yeah.
So if they
Ooh, I
didn't do
think
better. Yeah, they wouldn't even
That would
put it in.
be
So
that'd be cool. If okay, all right, we already know as a community we're going to do this, right? Um, if they give you a spot in your thing where you report your score, you can report your score for every instance that you did the workout, and then it'll only, of course, give you credit for the best one. But then CrossFit has data on how you did for your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, time doing a workout. I would just be
yeah,
interested in
yeah,
knowing.
yeah. But I think some people, I mean, like there are like the elite athletes who don't even put their score in until the last second. So there would definitely be people holding on to their bad scores because they don't
Yeah.
want that data out there.
And all right. And you know what? For those guys, yeah, do it once as like a dry run through, right? Then do it again 2 days later as your actual one, using the data you got the time before and all that. But like for your regular gym goer, it's I don't know, it's just not worth it to do that. You
Yeah.
know, one and done, and then get back to training.
Hmm.
And you'd be surprised how many people are redoing these things and they don't even have a muscle up. you know they don't even have double unders, and they've already done a bunch of opens, and you would think that they would be like, okay, I didn't have double unders in that open, this is something serious to me. And they're not putting in the work outside of class to do that. Like, yes, you can get doubles during class, which, by the way, Terry got her first double under last week.
Nice. Very
How,
nice.
how cool is that? She's been
Yeah.
doing CrossFit for 8 years. She's in her 60s now, and we got our first double under, and it was one of those double unders where she hit the first single under, and the second interval of the rope just kind of like fell slowly and beat her feet down.
Hmm.
But that just goes to show you don't have to. The rope speed doesn't have to be fast
Yeah.
for it to go under your feet twice. And she did one of those. And the cue I told her, I was like, imagine the handles are drumsticks. So I want you to move your wrists like you're moving drumsticks, because
Yeah.
like the rotation, I was like, I'm not getting anywhere with spin the wrist. So
Hmm.
let's just try up and down and try to move the rope faster or whip the rope.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like we've been trying to do this for 8 years. And some people might write off a movement like that, like, I don't have double unders and whatnot. But it's like, as her coach, I have to still be persistent. Okay, we're 8 years into this. I'm not giving up if you're not giving up. And even if you give up, I'm still not going to give up. I'm
Yeah.
just going to still try to figure out a way for you to do this. That's the mission today. We're going to work on it. And hey, we got one. Um, I don't know how I got off tangent from the open on that. What were we talking? Oh, working on your skills throughout the year. There's a lot of people who won't do that.
Yeah.
They'll come away, right immediately following the open is the most perfect time to be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to start scaling back my pull-ups. Like I've been getting into that situation where I'm trying to, quote, save them. I'm doing singles for every rep. I'm going to scale for a month and do ring rows and bar pull-ups and just see what it's like to do the full capacity and the speed that I need it to be. I don't know. A lot of people don't do that. Have you ever done that?
Yeah. I mean, remember I stopped doing handstand push-ups for a couple months,
Yep.
and I was just doing box stuff and like building that back up because I could just tell that it wasn't good enough, at least for my
Mhm.
standard. Like I could do them, but
Yep.
yeah,
And it's surprising, like in some ways, how much harder box handstand push-ups are
yeah,
than regular handstand push-ups. When I was able to support myself upside down, I could do sets of 10 plus strict handstand push-ups. I love doing handstand push-ups.
hmm,
But you put me on a box, I'm like, this is the hardest thing we've done the entire class.
yeah,
Yet if you let me kick up on the wall, for some reason it's easier. But the
hmm,
box handstand push-up definitely hurts in a different way.
yeah.
So it's like those. What do you think the mindset? Do you think people get in a mindset of like, oh, that's scaled, I shouldn't go back to that? Like, what do you think the thing is once you unlock an achievement, so to say, and you have pull-ups now, and then you build yourself up to the capacity of doing pull-ups, that all of a sudden you don't want to do ring rows anymore, or you shouldn't do ring rows anymore? That's a thing that the coach should communicate to you. You know, we've in the past, when we've purposely programmed ring rows, had people not want to do them and be like, why wouldn't I just do pull-ups and just want to do
Yeah.
pull-ups? Yet you and I know a ring row can be the most humbling thing. And a couple months ago, ring rows were actually programmed in the workout for cap. And remember, everybody was like, all of a sudden, all wide eyed, like, I can't row myself to the rings at
Hmm.
all after a couple rounds. Where do you think that comes from? Is that an ego thing again?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also not a fear, but let's say like something that's tough. Um, Even toes to bar, right? Where it's like I can get my toes to the bar. They won't be pretty and they're not exactly what you're showing me, but I can do them. And if I can get a couple, I might as well do those than, try to do straight leg raises.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think that people see the building that these things lead to better movement. Or if it's like a deficiency in, like, let's say your um just your positioning while you're kipping.
Hmm.
If you feel like you can't get it even at the beginning with like a swing, then you don't think that just working on those in a workout will add to your toes to bar that you think you already have, or like your pull-ups that you think you already have, because you can figure it out in a workout where you can kind of just pull yourself up. It's not timed right, it's not correct, but at least at the end of the day you can go, okay, I at least got some pull-ups than like I struggled with a scaling option for pull-ups.
Question number one. Uh, would you have, let's say, we'll use this theoretical athlete as an example. It's a pull up day. Are you okay with them doing each round a couple pull ups, maybe what they have, and then finishing out the reps with another scaling option, whether it be a low bar or ring rows? Yeah or nay for Coach Miguel?
It depends. I think you have to see how that person kind of moves through them, because if you give them both, I think they're still going in, I'm doing a workout, I'm doing this fast. So then the scaling option, they're rushing through it. I think if you
Mhm.
give them fully go, I want you to focus on this, then you can kind of keep them there and have them truly focus, then kind of just letting them do what they want. Um, but it depends. I think you can find
Probably depends
some
on the
worth.
workout a little bit too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if it's Fran, I might be tempted to say, okay, do 963 on the pull-ups and get the nines done in 333 and the six in 3-3 or 2-2-2, and then try to go unbroken for the last set, just to cycle them back to the barbell quicker and allow them to break it up. Which, if they're able to shake it out for a second or two and breathe and then get back on the bar, maybe they're sticking closer to the time frame that it would be for you or Mike to do 21, who are probably going to go unbroken. Right, you'd go unbroken on Fran, 21
Yeah.
pull-ups. Unless you're quote gaming it, or
Right.
or or practicing something. So I would do that. If it's a bigger workout, I might, maybe it's something that has repeated sets on an AMRAP of 15 pull-ups. I might say, hey, all right, Miguel, I want you to do 3 crisp pull-ups every single round, and then go to the rings and do 12 ring rows. And here's how I want you to do those. But I want, still, the main goal is to try your hardest to keep the pull-up alive from 0 to 15. So it definitely does depend on the workout and the day and what they're ready to do. It could even be
Yeah.
one pull up. So I don't think there's. I think you just have to watch out when you do stuff like that, where it might be too much volume for the athlete to all of a sudden to do something like that. But if it's someone who's been working on things for a while and they have sound technique for a couple pull ups or a couple toes to bar, I'm okay with doing that, and then also using that secondary exercise to continue one for the work capacity and the volume if that's the goal for the day, but to also use that to keep building up the other movement that they're doing,
Yeah.
you know, and not fatigue one or the other too much. And you can even adjust the reps, like, all right, 3 pull-ups, and then just do 9 ring rows for me because I don't want you to cycle back to the bike that quickly too. I have to
Hmm.
make sure that your 3 pull-ups matches the time frame that we wanted you to be on the pull-up bar today.
Yeah.
Because then you know, you've heard me say this before. If you go too fast on one exercise because you overscale it, now you're just doing 10 minutes of the other two with a
Yeah.
really brief break of going over here and spending no time there at all. So that's always something to watch out for. Um, what about? I had a part two for this. What did I just ask you? I just said so that's the scaling part of it for an athlete like that. Um,
Well, I think the original was, why do we think athletes don't want to go back down to,
oh yeah.
yeah,
So what's the conversation you have? Let's say you have James McDermott come to class. You know, I've got not the best looking pull-ups. Like I've got like those kipping pull-ups where at the bottom I'm not going to straighten my arms out all the way. At my chin comes like just under or in line with the pull-up bar. You know, how far you let me go with that? You're probably seeing it during the practice, right? And you're seeing it in the practice round. What kind of a conversation do you have with me to move me now to a scaling plan? And now I've been at your gym for 6 years. This is we could be in a situation of this is just how James does pull-ups, which is not the ideal answer, or it's the total wrong answer, right?
yeah,
And now today you just took the CrossFit gymnastics course. You're coming in with extra gumption in your coaching. What kind of a conversation are you going to have with me to convince me now to go down to something that I also haven't done in a while because you've just allowed it to happen. It's a tough situation, right?
hmm.
So what do you do?
There are times where, yeah, I guess it depends on how you approach it. And sometimes it's really just going up to them and saying, I want you to focus on this. Here's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like for that specific situation, one, we could do like adjustable pull-up bar or like a box under the pull-up bar.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I focus on, like, if we are doing kipping, straightening those arms through the like positioning of the Superman and the hollow body, and making
Mhm.
sure that the arm is straight before you come back up. And you can still get a lot out of that. Like if you tell them like, all right, we can adjust the box height. So if you still want to feel like you're doing the pull-ups, I just want you to make sure that you get those arms long each time.
Now, I James could perceive this as you coming over and telling me this now that I'm a bad person and I'm doing pull-ups wrong, even though you said I've been doing them right for you know countless workouts. Like, so what's your initial approach? Like we've done the skills practice. Are you handling it into skills practice? Like, hey, you know, James, I see you're not getting your arms locked out all the way. Why is that? How you're like, are you asking any questions? Because
Right.
questions can help open up this door. If you ask me, hey, how does that feel? And I'm like, it feels really hard today. Like, oh, okay. Well, hey, it's looking a little bit tough today for what we want to do. Why don't we do this type of a deal? Like,
Yeah.
how are you going into this?
Yeah. I mean,
When are you making this call?
typically it is during the actual skills. Like if I'm going step by step. Um, yeah. I mean, that it's actually a pretty common one, this example, but it would be, as I go into my next step, maybe reiterating, like, here's what I want with our arms. And I would also show the like keeping your arms kind of tense still and not letting them straighten out. And because I have pull ups to a degree of like showing them the difference in my kip
Mm-hmm.
with, this time I didn't straighten my arms. What is the difference here that you guys saw?
Side tangent. Be careful with that, of course.
Right. Yeah.
On like, you know, like if you show, if you have the time and you want to show the quote incorrect way, you should always cap that off with showing the correct way
Right.
one more
Yeah.
time. So you're not leaving in their brains like that is what the last thing that we did. Um, and oftentimes though, it's just show them exactly what you want and then correct it from there.
Yeah.
I would say if you're showing the incorrect way to do it, maybe you're demoing what someone is doing. Like, hey James, look, here's what I'm seeing you do. Watch my elbows, and here's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Watch my elbows. You just gotta be careful. And the bigger the class, the more careful you have to be. If you have a
Hmm.
small, intimate group, okay, But if you have 12 people in there, remember you're banking that all 12 are actually paying attention at any given time,
Right.
100%, and that everyone is understanding what you're saying and that there are no other interpretations of what you're saying. I've done that plenty of times. I'm not sure if you've done this, where all of a sudden you're like, all right, here's what we're going to do, go to do it. And you're like, there are 5 interpretations happening. Right. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said specifically what needed to happen right now.
Right.
And it's not their fault, it's my fault. Like somehow I messed up explaining that, and now all of you are doing something different. I said everybody face the garage door, and now I don't understand why 5 of you are not facing the garage door. Like maybe it's me, maybe it's you. I'll accept responsibility and then correct it from there. But so yeah, just it's something to be careful with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But I mean, just showing examples and letting everyone know why it's important. Um, and then, yeah, if it continues, then, and we're looking out for it, um, it would be like I said, like, I want you to focus on this today. And here's how we can do that through this movement, through doing it this way. And I think that'll help us for the workout and to actually building up these skills again, or getting it to the point that, I feel more comfortable with you doing that movement.
Yep. Yep. That's a similar conversation I'll have with people. I'll also maybe throw in there, Miguel, I want you to experience what it's like to do 21 in a row today. Instead of doing 7 sets of 3. And to do that, we're gonna use a box and we're gonna do the box kip swing pull up. And then I want you to see what it's like to hang on for the pull up to do all 21 in a row, and what that feels like when you go back to the barbell now and you have to pick that up, and also to get this whole workout done in probably 3 minutes faster than what you ever had before. We did this recently with Fran, with a couple people when we did
Mm.
Fran a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "It's never felt like that before. I can't make a fist, or I can't open my fist. It's like,
Yeah.
or my arms were jelly reaching up to the pull-up bar." It's like, yeah, that's what a lot of other people are experiencing, and it's like you would not have experienced that if you hit one pull-up drop. You'll feel the lung, your lungs and stuff like that, but you won't feel what it's like to hang on to the bar. And you also won't get the benefits of hanging on for the bar. Like if Shy's over there doing 21 in a row and you're doing 7 sets of 3, you guys are kind of doing two different things.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool stuff to think about. What do you do if James says no?
Well, I don't know. That's interesting. It's never happened to me.
You announce to the room, "I'm armed and dangerous. Do what I say to do."
Yeah, I guess that would also depend on like the tone that you receive a no. I guess
Uh-huh.
nobody would ever just say no. Well, I wouldn't say never, but they'd probably talk their way out of it and like, well, today I really wanted to do this, so
Uh-huh.
I think I'm gonna try to go. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I try not to like.
It shouldn't
I
be a
know that
combative
people.
situation now, right?
Yeah,
We
I
don't
know
want to
that
fight
people
with
have
someone.
like their goals when they go into class, and maybe they have their own idea of like, I really wanted to try this today,
That's
and
always
this
the
is
tough
why.
one, where they come in almost announcing to the entire group already on what they're going to do, right? Like it's almost like they know that they shouldn't in some regards, and they know what you're maybe going to want them to do. So they're like getting way out in front of it. Like they're coming in, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to RX Fran today. Oh yeah, today's the first day I'm gonna RX Fran." And then they're talking to everybody, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm so like like I've experienced that a lot. And it's like they knew coming in that
Yeah.
they shouldn't be, or that maybe you wouldn't want them to be. So you have to work with them in that regard. I think for the no to happen, one, hopefully you've already sown the seeds along the way in
Right.
class, right? Like if you've let them go through the whole warm up, the specific warm up, the practice round, and you didn't mold this in a certain way, and the first time they're hearing, "Hey, I don't want you to do pull ups today," is right after the practice round, I could see that leading to a confrontation of expectations, you know. But if you were like if you were asking questions all throughout the skills practice, like, hey, why aren't you, you know, is that difficult today to get your arms locked out at the bottom of the pull-up, or pointing out, hey, on these last three you didn't get your chin over the bar, give me a little more on that backswing, or do this, make this correction. Like, no man, we're still not getting there, you know. Or if you say, hey, on this set I want you to practice stringing together 3 reps, and they had to do, you know, multiple singles, you don't have the data part of your argument other than, hey, you suck and you can't do it after the practice round, I need you to scale this down because you're going to take too long. Like,
Right.
you've kind of already, as a coach, set yourself up for this by the time you got there. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean there still won't be people contentious through the whole way, even if you did lay the groundwork on what they should do by the time you get there. But yeah.
Right. I've had my dreams broken in many a whiteboard brief where I like my whole idea was like, okay, I can definitely do what I call quote unquote my quick singles.
Yeah.
And then I get there and all right, everyone should be doing all of these unbroken. If you can't do the weight unbroken, you should scale the weight. And from there you go, okay, maybe my plan can't work today. Maybe I got
Yeah.
to do something else. And then yeah, as you go through and you like again shouldn't be the only time that you hear that as well as you're going through the skills and practice and all of that and you're building up, you are constantly hearing like, yeah, you should be able to hold on to this or something like that so that when you get up to the point where all right, this is the heaviest weight that I can do unbroken, you know that you should stay there.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. It starts at the whiteboard brief, right? Like, someone comes in like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that 315 on that deadlift today, and then you're at the whiteboard brief. You're like, all right, this should be X percentage of your 1 rep max. If we're gonna think about maxes, you should be able to do all 5 of these 315s in a row. You know, blah 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 blah. And then you just kind of see in the room like, oh, okay, I had a whole
Yeah.
different view of this. My 1 rep max is 295, you know, but I was amped up today to PR that deadlift. Oh, and he said today isn't PR day, you know, so I already said today's not PR day. You know, this is how you should feel when you get here. You know, it shouldn't feel max effort. You know, it should feel smooth. It shouldn't feel like you're fighting for your life, you know, on this next warm up round. You know, we're not even to the practice round yet.
Yeah.
So just continuing to pepper in the expectations. And you've been in my classes before when I've done this, where it's like, hey, guess what we're about to do? We just practiced the thruster. Do 21 now with just the empty bar. And this is because we want to do 21 unbroken in the workout. This, we're going to see what 21 feels like right now. And when I do stuff like that, all of a sudden, like, everybody's plans changed,
Hmm.
you know, for the vast majority. Like, it almost never fails. And I've have you, I don't know, you probably haven't done this before. I have had a class do 21 with their Fran weight before the workout as like part of the practice. And then if they had to break it up, yeah, see the face. All right, so if you're just listening to the audio, Miguel just made a face because people will be pissed when you ask them to do that, you know. But I did that during regionals week, Miguel, with drop-ins from out of town at a 5:30 a.m. class way back in the day when it was a packed early morning class, and I have all these people who I don't know, and I'd been saying from the beginning, this is what we want today. Like, this is the time frame. This is what we're going for. We practice with empty barbell. All right, now load up your Fran weight, and we're going to do it. Prove it. Test it. And of course, during regionals week, like part of the mindset is like being competitive and like so the verbiage I use is like prove it. If you really think you can do it, prove it to me now, and then if you can do it, you'll be able to do it again. No problem. And you saw weights melting off of the barbell after that because there were some people who coming from out of town or from other countries who had never done Fran before.
Hmm.
So it's like no matter how much explaining or prepping I was doing, I still had one more thing in my back pocket to like get the message across. I'm like, this is what we want today. And then you just saw weights melting off the bar. I
Yeah.
challenge you to do that next time, Miguel. Like next time you have a workout like that, be like, all right, at the very least, we're gonna do 20 reps with just the empty barbell right now. See what it feels like. It shouldn't be a problem right now. Or when we're doing barbell warm ups for stuff like snatches, and we'll do 3 reps from 3 positions, and like people are dying during that. It's like if you can't hold on to the barbell right now on just the practicing of positions and all this stuff, and the little extra pausing time, how's this going to go when you add 50 pounds to it and you're supposed to do 21 of them in a row?
Yeah,
Stringing together sets of
that's
7.
actually exactly what I did in the workout today while I was warming up like barbell stuff. Right at
Perfect.
I didn't have a set number of reps in my head, but I would wait until it looked like they were ready to put it down, and I would do like one or two more, and you could see like the grip fatigue was like going, and I was like, perfect, because
Yeah.
for this exact style of workout, that's how those last few reps every set is gonna feel. So yeah,
Yeah. So you can give perspective and show people the stimulus beforehand,
right.
and again, it goes back to that athlete. Maybe James like, I don't want to do 21 in a row. I'm not going to be able to do Fran after. Well, then you're not. There's the debate on like, well, then you're not fit enough to do it RX to begin with. Like, what can we expect? And then if you tell James to do 21 in a row right now, and he has to do 5 and 6 and like break it up into 4 sets, like, all right, it should be apparent to both of you this is way too heavy. Like you're
Yeah.
doing 95, bump it down to 65 and do them unbroken. Um, and it'll be a harder workout, right? Like the weight isn't the only thing that makes the workout hard. It's
Hmm.
doing the workout in the manner in which it was intended also helps to make it hard. Do you remember? Do you remember that speech at the level one way back when you took it on? During before the burpee workout, that if you're dropping the weight often, you're actually just making the workout easier for yourself. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I think I do remember that. Yeah.
I think it was Austin Maliolo said that possibly before yours, or I can't remember if I was there for yours or not. Maybe this is when
No,
Josh
I don't
did
think you
his.
were there for hours, but we did have a similar, what was it? I think we had burpee pull-ups and something else. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Do you
and
remember what he said specifically?
it was similar to what you just said of yeah, it's not the weight, it's it's the cycling through the reps that's really
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
I remember, people. It used to be really, really, really big on doing singles. There was a point where every workout was done with singles, and I think that came from the open. Like the open philosophy and tactics trickle out into the main community, and then you would have a lot of people who the only way they can move 135 is with singles,
Yeah.
and of course they want to do 135, and they would be finishing a set of, let's say, 10 of 135 minutes slower than someone who was doing at least a 2 to 3, or a lot of people, back in those days in the gym would do it unbroken or next to unbroken because it really wasn't a heavy weight for them. But they still wanted to hang and look at their bar and say, look, I got the bar that Miguel's got, he's got the 45s, I got the 45s. You know, there's the social element, I guess, that comes into it. But they weren't getting the same stimulus,
Yeah.
and then they start living they're trying to become a regional athlete and a games athlete before they're you know they're really, I guess, ready for it. I don't
Hmm.
know if that, for lack of a better word, but they weren't getting what they could have out of the workouts. And then it ends up being, they get to the open, you crash and burn, especially when the open gives you limited time or there's intervals now. You got to get
Right.
that RX done in X amount of time or you don't advance to the workout, through the
Mm-hmm.
workout. I love the open workouts that are like that because then it's like, no, you didn't do what you had to do to get there.
Yep.
And I love at the games, was it Jackie Pro, where you had to row within a certain time in order to advance to
Yep.
the other parts. Amazing,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Yeah, no, you don't get to take it easy on this part of the workout. Then it's like, hey, you didn't. It's just I like personally the black and white of you did not do what you had to do, and you don't get to go on.
Yeah.
It's is it too harsh of a philosophy overall? Like the is it? I know it's not the most fun one, and yes, we want a balance of fun, Miguel.
Yeah.
Like I don't want this to make it sound like I don't also encourage the fun. And okay, let's do one more set and go for a PR. Or yes, let's throw the program out and let's max out. Like, of course, I still love to do all that, and like I sprinkle it in and do it when I feel like it's appropriate. I'm talking about the extreme cases of when this is all people do, and that's why I love the workouts that have the harsh reality components to them. You don't get the finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's a mix, and I feel like people are forgetting the mix part
Yep.
of
Don't want to forget the mix.
where, yeah, I mean, I think really what it was, Rich Froning, I think it was when they did, it may have been Isabel or
Heavy
something like
Grace,
that.
225 Grace.
I think it was something with snatches. It might have been Randy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he was doing singles while other people kind of like fell off the wagon because went out too hot. So then everyone
Wait,
was like,
wait. There's no way that Randy's 75 snatches is 75 pounds. Like I don't
yeah, I
think
can't
Rich should be
remember.
doing.
It was something. So I do want to say it's Isabel. Um,
Oh, was
I
it
mean,
Matt Frazier and Noah Olson at the
no,
games for
no,
the
it's not
standard?
that. I know that
We've
you
talked
like
about
that
that
one.
before.
No, it's not
Come on, all right,
that.
come on, hold on. Noah Olson, if he could win, he could win. He gets off of the muscle ups, and it's 30 snatches away from him being the fittest in the world, and he goes into default singles mode. He was off the rings before Matt Frazier. Matt Frazier comes over and starts repping. Come on now, like how do you not hold on to that bar? How do you not push into the deep waters and just try to hold that lead? Like he's right behind you, one of the best ever, and you've got the lead and you hit it and drop it and give him the window. Come on now.
So anyway,
Do
yeah,
you
I think
think
it
Noah
was.
Olsen would have won if he would have went out there and like
I don't think
swung for
so.
the
I can't
fences?
remember what the point spread was, but
Okay, okay.
anyway, yeah, I think it was Rich Froning who was like dropping and like, but I mean, a very methodical, like single breath, breath. I'm back on the bar.
And he is
That
the master
people,
pacer.
right, that people don't understand. But he also knows I can do all of these unbroken, maybe just because it's a competition. Maybe I don't want to take that risk right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's, yeah, people are putting the wagon before the horse where they're like, I just got to game this. But you don't even have the option to do it the other way. So it's
Yeah.
not really a game. That's the only way you're able to do it. And maybe you want to build up that skill so that you have the option either way. Like if you needed to go unbroken on this, could you?
Yeah. And we say that during classes. Hey, the weight is this. If you're putting this weight on the bar, you should have the ability to do a set of 5. But you might today want to do singles for XYZ reason. You can definitely see that. Yeah. Yeah. Imagine having that ability of Rich Froning where you get out there, you're doing singles, and then you throw off all the rest of the field when you just bust out a set of 5 because you can,
Yeah.
and then advance the bar or right at the very end because they're all going to pace off of you and try to keep you in view. So when you like do go off script, so to say, it just I don't know. I've not. chased people like that to have it mentally destruct in my head where I'm like, okay, I'm only one rep away from Miguel. I'm just going to keep on pace with him. I'll see if I can turn it up. And then you just go off the wall and do something like that because you have the ability. Have you been in that situation? And if you were, did it affect you mentally for the rest of the workout?
Um, I
You're
don't know if
battling with
I've ever
Mike.
been like fully thrown off. I think you also anticipate that that could happen,
Mm-hmm.
and you try to like minimize that risk of like, if they did decide to go, could I also decide to go right now?
And is it
And
worth it to follow too? Because he might be trying to throw
yeah,
everyone off.
exactly. Where you're like, all right, I know what I have in the tank, but if I can also have this person make a mistake, then that might save me. Um, but no, I don't think I've ever, maybe actually, but not in that way. Sometimes, like if I'm doing something RX and someone's scaling, I'll also time myself off of them.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen people like with like ring rows, they're doing whatever number in their sets each time. And then like the last round, they're like, I'll just go unbroken on these ring rows. And I'm like, I don't know if I can go unbroken on these pull-ups right now. And I've been pacing off of you. Um, and that does throw you off.
Yeah.
Um, but it is nice to have that option, or like reverse splits, which I think people love the idea of, but can't always execute. But going, okay, I thought I would have less in the tank, but now that I'm in this last round, I'm going to try to push and see if I can have a faster round for this last time.
Should practice it throughout the year, right? Like with
Yeah.
anything. There's there's so many opportunities because the workouts are so varied. There's so many different styles. And like right now, we are seeing open workouts pop up in the programming here and there. So those are also good times. Like this specific day, I'm going to practice this. If I'm ready to practice this, and then other days are training days. And there's going to be days you come in where it's like you should just move today.
Yeah.
Because like you're just too beat up. You should modulate. Not every day should be fighting for your life day. You should have these all planned out. And if the programming is done well, I guess it would help you not do that, because it's not going to be a series of workouts that requires you to do that. Can we talk about the open? Can we have official showdowns this year, depending on the workout, like a actual, like we'll hype it up like a fight, like Mike Tyson, Jake Paul type of fight, where it could be a you versus Schaff, or Schaff versus Mike, or Mike versus you, or someone else. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's always been the thought, but it depends. I think it should rotate.
Yeah.
Like, I think we should do it almost open announcement style, where like every week is someone different. And maybe you have like two going at the same time, meaning like this person versus this person, also this person versus this person.
Yeah, depending on the workout. Like, let's say it's a workout of double unders, muscle ups, and burpee box jump overs. Okay, Mike versus Miguel.
But I think that's kind of where the problem lies, is that people are going to want to choose. And I think the best way to do it, honestly, is doing it Thursday. So we've already locked in who's doing it. And as the
Oh, okay.
workout gets announced, all right, you got a couple hours, you're doing it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the workout is. Because then, you give people too many days and then they back out, and not everybody wants to do it. And you got to
Okay.
make it just like, all right, fight night announced. We don't know what the workout is yet, but this is the time and place.
Well, we're gonna do the open workouts on Saturdays
Right.
again, but that doesn't mean like we can have two little matchups go a little earlier to kind of hype things up for Saturday.
Yeah.
And then of course you have a day off if you want to do it again for some reason. But yeah, all right. Hey, well, do you want to go week one
Theoretically,
theoretically? Who would you want to face off against on week one in open
you can
workout?
put anybody on that other side. It won't matter.
All right, let's talk to Mike then. I think that's a classic matchup. Mike and Miguel, you guys are very evenly matched on a lot of things as well. You know, very close in weight, close in height, like just everything. You know, you guys went toe to toe and both did that deadlift, front squat, burpee over the bar workout 2 weeks ago. Both RX, right?
Yeah.
So the workout was 3 rounds per time, 10 deadlifts at 155, 10 burpees over the bar, and then without any rest, 10 front squats with the same weight and 10 more burpees over the bar. And you guys both finished relatively close. Were you racing him? Were you trying to beat him?
Yeah, I would say so.
And I would assume he's trying to race you and beat you.
I think just because of how the room was laid out, I beat him by a few seconds, and I think that he could have beat me by a few seconds if I was in front of him.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was at the front of the room and you were just behind him. Okay. Did you guys say anything before the workout on like trash talk? Any
No, I think it's understood.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
understood. If he sees you picking up the bar, he knows he should be picking up the bar.
We had a I guess you could say a matchup the maybe a week or two before as well. Um, it was the 3 rounds. I want to say it was 15 push press, 15
Mm-hmm.
toes to bar.
Yes. Yep.
And he kind of smoked me on that one, honestly. I think he beat me by like a full minute.
Okay. Was it the
Yeah.
push press?
He was just quicker getting to the toes to bar.
Got it. So
Like
he
he
hit the
was
push
he was
press,
quicker
went
on
yeah.
getting on and getting off, where I was resting a little bit in my transitions.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that was, I mean, you've been dabbling back into Metcons now. You know, I
Right.
think we are kind of doing them in Barbell Club, you know, even though we're doing them our own way with the accessory. I think that's going to help, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because not only are we working on the metabolic side of things, we're sticking to the same movements to keep developing the strength and the capacity in those movements, like with the
Yeah.
Bulgarian split squats and stuff. And I think we're seeing now, since we've been doing it the whole cycle, some of the benefits of it, not the full benefits. Um, Even on random things, like Haley hit that thruster. You saw that thruster she hit right at
Yeah.
like just under PR, and it looked like something she could do for 5. It was like the most powerful thruster ever. And we haven't done thrusters in a while. And I'm not gonna let her forget it. You know,
Yeah.
we'll have to max out thrusters soon. But all right, I think that sounds fun. And with that same workout, the deadlift burpee one, you got me all the way in the background, and I finished around the time that you guys finished. And I just wanted to scale it based on my capacity and what I'm able to do to finish around where you guys were. Because
Yeah.
Josh said it was around 8 to 10 minute workout, right? Is that what he said?
I
Or
think
eight to
so.
12?
Yeah.
And what was your time?
I can actually look it up. Let me see.
So it's one that should have been done super fast. The RX weight's 155. You should be doing the deadlifts unbroken. You should be doing the front squats unbroken, which is quite the challenge later on in that workout.
Yeah, I got 8:56.
856. Okay. I was 848, and Mike was maybe around that time too, right?
Yeah, so he was probably like 8:58.
858. Okay. So now to look into to scaling, uh, I added a minute of rest to the middle of my workout to make sure I didn't go overboard and just slog through the rest of it. I hit the first 3 rounds and I only did 7 and 7. I did 7 deadlifts, 7 burpees over the bar. And each time I would look up, I would be advancing to the next station when you two were advancing to the next station.
Right.
So if I kept the 3 extra burpees for the sake of keeping them, I would have gone way slower, cycled back to the barbell much slower. Um, I didn't go super heavy on the deadlift because I'm still figuring that out. Like I've done heavy deadlifts on strength days, but I was like, we have not done high rep speedy deadlifts in
Mm-hmm.
a very long time, and I don't need to find out it was a bad idea on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I bumped the weight down. I just used 65 pounds, which that was fine. Hold on to it, go fast, and then drop down to the floor because Miguel's already on the floor. So just trying to keep up with you guys kept the intensity pretty high. And I think I finished that first triplet in 2:45, and then I took a minute off to get
Mm-hmm.
my breathing back, and then got right back on it. And by the time I got to starting my burpees and squats, you guys had already gotten there. And
Yeah.
I think that was everybody's slower second half. Like that
Mm-hmm.
second half of it sucked with the squats and stuff. And I just did squats to a ball with a counterbalance for the plates, because those are still hard on the knees. But I was happy about that. I was like, my only goal is to keep up with those guys
Yeah.
and not to do too much where I'm putting it down, or to do enough where I'm going to slow down that I finish minutes after you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it only took knocking off a couple reps here, not a lot of reps, but just enough reps where I'm just going to keep getting down to the floor and back over that bar.
Yeah.
So I was just going for the stimulus of the whole workout. Um, Meanwhile, you guys have been doing this a lot more frequently than I have, and you're way stronger than I am. Do 155. Hold on to it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think you did the front squats all unbroken, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I assume Mike did too.
Yeah. The difference ended up being I could do my first one as a clean,
Oh,
and he was power cleaning and then starting the squats.
precious seconds.
Yeah, it really was like that was really the difference, I would say.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Yeah, and little things like that, are important. Uh, well, I've been thinking about for barbell club. I've told Shaf about this. Shaf is on board. Let me see what Miguel thinks about this.
Hmm.
We always do a 12 days of Albany CrossFit workout right before Christmas. We could do, I would like to do, I'm planning it, a 12 days of Albany CrossFit Barbell Club, where it's one of those 12 days workouts where all 12 movements are barbell movements.
Hmm.
What do you think about that? That's what
It
we would do that
depends.
Monday. That's what we would
What
do
do
that
you like? What do
Monday.
you mean? Like, is it you can't put the barbell down?
No, you could. It doesn't have to be done unbroken. If you can do it unbroken, you can. And there's also, of course, kind of penalties if you don't. Like
Hmm.
if the first movement is one strict press, then the second one is do two power cleans, one strict press. If you do two power cleans and drop it, you're going to have to do a third power clean, pick it up, and then do a strict press.
Right.
So there's like, and I am like trying to tweak the order to allow for success.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have a lot of our favorite stuff in there. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. Sounds cool.
I'm thinking a lightweight 95-65, or whatever that comes out to be for for in kilos. Um, I I don't think we have to do it, just because it's the barbell club one. Like the barbell club aspect is we're doing 12 barbell movements,
Yeah.
for a lot of reps. But because we're doing a lot of reps in a fashion that the majority of the group doesn't do 365 out of the year, except for like a little bit right now, I think it lends itself to like, let's just go light and do a really, really big barbell complex where you add, and it's about the spirit of it. Because if we go 95, um, or 135-95, that might be too much, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and kind of making the first movement um, almost have something to be like a capper for the weight too. Which I guess if we did go 135-95 or 60-40, if the first movement is strict press, well, you should be able to do that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
are you going to be able to do that at the end of the workout? So that kind of helps. So I guess, all right, if I'm thinking about it, I could set the weight at like a 60-40, and the exercises also kind of lend into, well, you have to scale it because you're not going to be able to do the last movement
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the first movement. Actually, you're not gonna be able to start the workout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what would you think is better? So we have 12 exercises, unbeknownst to everybody. I think for the vast majority in the barbell club, you could do any one of those exercises at 60-40. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is, can you do 10 of whatever it is? And then I have to make sure that 10 isn't something like the 10 shouldn't be snatches, you
Yeah.
know, because that's not in the spirit of the group. The 10 is like, okay, you're going to do 10 deadlifts. Okay, everybody could do that. or 10 back squats or 10 lunges or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's cool.
You convinced me. Okay, I think 135.95 is a better weight than 95.65. But
I mean, I will be scaling it.
yeah, I
But
think everybody will be scaling it. But like I'm talking about if we're making a standard, like this
yeah,
is our new Christmas tradition for the Barbell Club. I think 95.65 is a little bit too light. We do want it to be a challenge. We do expect it to be a longer workout too,
mm-hmm.
where ideally you're doing each movement, if you can, complete the movement, then rest if you need to, and then move on to the next thing. Because
Yeah,
it is going to be different than your typical 12 days workout where, okay, you just did kettlebell swings, but now you're doing sit ups. So you get to recover on the sit ups. Like there really is no room here other than you just did an upper body movement. Now you're doing a lower body movement.
yeah,
It's still the barbell.
yeah. No, that sounds cool.
And I will say, doing it this way, the 12 days workout, where there's only one implement, is way more psychologically daunting than if you get to go around to the pull-up bar, the rower, the box, all these things. So I am trying to keep that into consideration too on how I map out the moves. Um, you did convince me to go heavier on the weight. I do think that's fair to go heavier on the weight because then everybody can scale. And that way we don't get in a situation where someone's just doing it with just the empty barbell. Because the RX weight for the women was 65 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have that much room to go down after that. And I think too, some of you could do it super fast if it was 95.65.
Yeah.
Almost too fast, Oh, wow. What do you think about the psychological aspect of this? You don't get to
Yeah, I
leave the
think
barbell.
right. It's different. I think part of the CrossFit one, it also seems like a lot because you're moving to different places.
Yep.
So overall the workout seems so vast, but it is kind of like you are spared because then you can move and you have time to rest. But if you're just holding on to a barbell, it's a completely different
Yeah.
like thing mentally.
Like remember some of those 12 days workouts where we had to have all the boxes lumped together in the double, and you get to go from the far end of the room to walk all the way across the room into the
Yeah.
double, do the boxes, then walk back. Like that's a luxury, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to get that kind of a rest. And then you have to go all the way back in there to use the bikes. So just because of the sheer volume of people doing that workout, you had to have things in different rooms.
Yeah.
And share the equipment. But I think for us, this would be something fun. And what I would do is have us prepare for it throughout December on different days. Like once kind of this phase of what we're doing through November kind of ends a little bit in December, okay, we'll do things similar, but not quite. Like we'll do the hokey pokey complex, and maybe it's we'll do it though. I think both ways, a heavy hokey pokey, but also the real deal, just to see what it's like to be stuck with a barbell for a longer term in a complex, kind of. Even
Yeah.
though the 12 days workout isn't a complex, so to say, do things like the big clean complex, do things like the actual bear complex. Since we were talking about the other day, I do think it would be fun to try. And then just scale along the way and just learn about yourself on how to cycle through different movements and how to do things. Because you know how to do that. Shop knows how to do that. Others in class don't know how to do that or have experienced what it's like. That
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And then maybe have some days be components of the complex. Okay, you're going to do a heavy 2 power cleans into a strict press as heavy as you can, and then move on. And that's part 1 for the day. And
Yeah.
then we move on to something else. But that's just taking that like a piece of the 12 days and training it and learning what it is that you can do. Because I think that can help you figure out too, what would a good RX weight be for me? Because if you can't strict press it, then you're kind of done right away.
Exactly.
And I think we can't look into it on like what is your max strict press off of a rack. I don't know if we can look at it that much because there's things coming before it.
Yeah.
We don't have the problem of, well, you have to be able to clean it. Like that is the benefit of the barbell. It's like whatever that weight is, all of you can clean. All of you can clean. All of you can pretty much thrust. Haley just thrustered 60 kilos for one rep. But that's, if that's the top end, 60-40, that makes a good argument for 40. But then again, there's the lung capacity and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to figure out. But okay, so you're on board with this 12 days of Albany CrossFit.
Sure.
Sounds fun, right? Be a new holiday tradition. Yeah. We were going to talk about lesson planning, but we kind of got on a huge tangent on the Open. But I think it's time appropriate. I think it's time appropriate. The Open is coming up. You're going to do it. I'm assuming Shop's going to do it. I would like to do it. I haven't done the Open in a long time. I think since 2019. Yeah. 2019 was like, because in 2020, I don't remember what happened with the Open at all. Did we had one, right? Was that in November?
I think 2019 was the year of the double Open.
Okay, and I did
and
both
then
of those.
so then it did switch to in 2020, I think in October, November again.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
And I did not do that one. That was still that weird time, October, where we were just getting back into the gym and rebuilding and doing stuff. What a weird time that was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all kind of phasey, or hazy thinking about it. But okay, and then after that, I just body fell apart and stopped doing that stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to do it. I hope that they keep the some of those options where you're like, hey, here's the real super scaled one. It's like, I don't care about the workout. I just care about doing it. I would like to participate. Like if it's a PVC pipe or whatever, I don't care. And also if it's scaled in a way where I don't have to break my body, awesome. I like that. And I might have to draw a line on some things. Did you see that video that Jeff Bridges, or is it Jeff Bridges, games athlete?
Yeah, I didn't see it though, but
is that his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Josh Bridges.
Oh, Josh Bridges.
Jeff Bridges is the actor.
Okay, yeah. Jeff Bridges is the actor. Josh Bridges. I was like, something about this sounds wrong right now. He put out a YouTube video about CrossFit movements that he's done with. He's like, I'm never going to do them anymore. Like they don't help me in my fitness. My body is broken and aged and stuff. I have no business doing XYZ. And I was like, you know what? Like I have a short list too. Like box jumps to at least to a 24-inch box. Goodbye. We're done with those. I don't ever need to be. I don't need to do those anymore. I'll put a weighted step up to a 24-inch box too, where my knee is up to my throat. Yeah,
right.
I don't need to do those because I already know that if I do those, like it's not the same. Mm-hmm. It's not the same. I'm going to scale it down to where I see everyone else's knees and hips. Like that's what you're doing. Then for me, I'm going to do it that way. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to use a 24-inch box because that's what it says the RX for men is, or what everybody's got to do. Like there were so many workouts back in the day where it was 20 inches for all. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So I do have some things. Mostly my things are impact related. Like I don't know if I have to do the thing that bounces my body at a high rate off of anything. So I think most things I'll do, but I think it's mostly the impact stuff. So I'll do burpees. I'm just not going to jump over the bar and land sideways.
Yeah.
Especially not with those rad shoes. Oh my God. I've been doing a lot of things in those shoes that I don't think you should do because I don't know how people work out in those, but you feel it. You feel your foot roll around all kinds of ways.
I mean, we got the runners for sure. They should only be used for running.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. And I'll use them because it's the default one I have. But even the other day I demoed bailing on a back squat and I was wearing them and I was like, it doesn't feel right even trying to practice bailing on a back squat wearing those shoes. So yeah, I think that I never used to do kipping handstand push-ups. Only strict. I could do kipping handstand push-ups, but back when I got them, that's when everybody was hurting their neck. And I just said right off the bat, nope, I'm not going to risk that at all because I had already had a history of neck issues. So I
Mm.
was like, there's no reason 185-pound James needs to be dropping on his head under fatigue for what? Like again, for what? We're
Yeah.
training, right? So when it would pop up in a CrossFit workout, I was like, there's I get nothing out of this other than hurting my neck. And of course, weightlifting was a higher priority then too. So I didn't want to hurt my neck for weightlifting. Weightlifting was already hurting my neck enough.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll ever have a need to do kipping handstand push-ups.
Mm.
I also think strict handstand push-ups are cooler, and I feel more badass when I do them
Mm.
versus a kipping handstand push-up. Do
Yeah.
you kip?
Um, yeah. I think when I started doing them, it was always easier for me, probably just position wise, to do strict.
Uh huh.
Um, it depends on the amount of reps, I think. I think if it's a small number of reps, it's quicker for me to just do strict
Yeah.
because I don't have to like load up because I am like careful of the drop. So I'll go pretty slow and make sure I'm like cushioned and then bring my legs down and then go for the
Yeah.
kip. So yeah.
And that's how I had to do them. I had to lower down, then lower my legs, and then kip.
Right.
So why am I spending so much longer time on the wall? And then I would see people who were able to string it together, but they're coming down on their head and neck with
Yeah.
so much speed and force. I was like, I don't need any of that either. Like
Hmm.
I just want this to be strong and healthy. Like if if I'm getting paid and I'm going to the game, like it's that thing I used to you were probably an on ramp when I would explain this to people that the risk and reward, if you're playing in the NFL and you jump up to catch a ball, there is an expectation that there is a large man behind you ready to demolish you to stop you from advancing with the ball or even catching it. And there's
Yeah.
the risk that you might get very, very badly hurt. But you're also getting paid millions of dollars to do that. So
Right.
you are letting the risk outweigh or the rewards outweigh the risk. And I would explain to people, you never have to do that in CrossFit, and you probably shouldn't. There's a very small percentage of people that do that. And you saw people at the Rogue Invitational uh, blow out their Achilles tendon, or at regionals, people were blowing out their pecs on something with the muscle ups that year, or the ring dips.
Yeah, it
And
was
of
the
course,
ring dips.
there's all kinds of speculations of why that happened, but still, you're you're in an environment where you're trying to achieve high notoriety, sponsorships, win the big one, money, all that stuff. It's kind of expected that some of that stuff's going to happen, and you are going into it knowing it could happen, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need to take that risk. I need to walk tomorrow. I need to coach class tomorrow. I need to demo
Hmm.
these things. Why no one's going to pay me for winning the noon class on a Wednesday. So why am I doing that to myself? So yeah, that's my short list. Jumping over anything, most jumping, um, box jumps being number one, and I think uh, long, crazy distance running. I have no
Mm.
desire. Still have never had a desire to do that. That's kind of my short list. I'll do most anything else, and
Yeah.
kipping handstand push-ups. I'll kip on pull-ups. I still think that's way better than kipping handstand push-up. You train it. Do you have a short list of things that are off Miguel's list, or is it all still on the table?
For the most part, it's all still there. I would just say, like, I mean, I think they're really just taking it out of the sport, but like rebounding box jumps,
Oh yeah,
like there was a very small amount of time where I was even able to do those. Um, yeah, because when you have to do multiple box jump overs and people will jump sideways, just
yeah.
I will not do that. Um,
That
it's just not for me.
that's been a thing that I think we've been moving away towards for over 10 years.
Yeah,
I think at the affiliate level in most classes, in most gyms, it's been off the table since like 2013, 2014. We were having coaches meetings about it in 2012 after X amount of people had already hurt themselves.
yeah,
That like it's not worth it at all to do. But in the early days of CrossFit, that's how you got that crazy time on the Filthy 50 and other, or Fight Gone Bad, just
Hmm.
bam, 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 bam. And now you'll hear us say it every class. You have to turn around and step off the box,
Yeah.
and it's okay to go a little slower on that because it's not worth the risk of that's people aren't hydrating. They're not working their flexibility. They're not doing the jump and impact training to get to the point where their tendons would have integrity to do that. And now you're taking someone who's just sat at a desk all day doing their desk job and you're asking them to do it 50 times in a row for multiple rounds. I'm glad we came to that notion as a community. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
slow down. What are we doing? And that's definitely, it's interesting to see it happen now at the games level. Is that so? They are taking it out at the games level. Yeah.
It seems like it. Um, I think it was quarterfinals or semis as well, where they were like, yeah, you have to step down.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I don't think, yeah, nobody benefits, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I
And
think if you know,
I'm like a good jumper too. Like I know how to like absorb impact well, and even
yeah,
that is like it does not feel good at all.
yeah, I would say you're probably the best jumper we have in the gym and have been for years. Like all those box, like you have the ability to land way better on top of the box than
Right. Yeah.
probably most people. And then whenever we do those drills in barbell club, you always have the best technique. You know, that's because you used to train it way back in high school, right?
Yeah, it was definitely pieces of it for sure. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people they've never jumped on a box before,
Hmm.
and this is going back to the original talking about the open way back in the beginning conversation. You have people join and they want to do what everybody else is doing, and they get swept up in this competitive aspect of CrossFit, and they're like, well, if I want to go faster, I have to jump off. And you might have a big guy who's been inactive for many years. You got an extra 30 pounds of weight on you, and you're jumping on and off of the box like that. It's not good.
Yeah.
You should have to be demonstrating landing on top of the box exceptionally well
Hmm.
before you're ever able to jump off of the box exceptionally well. Like if you can't jump up on the box jumping 2 feet, now I want you to jump off of the box landing two
Yeah.
feet and then spring right back up on it. I don't know. Even stepping on and off, we still have a lot of people who will whiff it and
Hmm.
land, one knee on the box. And that's why it was a big sigh of relief when we moved to soft boxes
Yeah.
from hard boxes. Those were scary box jumps, Miguel. The hard box, when I know some people prefer the hard box, but those times where your foot used to catch the edge of it and you'd have to like catch yourself on your hand, like I remember my heart would always go up a little bit when I would do
Hmm.
that because you do get every now and then like a little like fray on your shins of where your
Yeah.
shin rubbed up against it, and then you would see people at the gym go down to the bone and have to go to the hospital. You only have to see that a couple times where you're like, you know what, I got to rethink my box jump whole life.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever seen that before, have you?
No. No.
Yeah. And hopefully you never will. Like it's not like I got that on my bingo card just because of the era of CrossFit that I joined. Um, but I prefer to not see it ever again. Like
Yeah.
because I don't want to see anyone hurt themselves. I'd rather you go way slower and scale the shit out of it than hurting yourself. Because that's not why we're here.
Right.
Again, it's not why you joined the gym. You wanted
Hmm.
to be healthy and to have more energy and play with your kids and live a long life and not to bust open your shin and have to, go to the hospital. Like, going to the gym should not lead you to be going to the hospital.
Right.
This is, we're doing something completely wrong if that happens. Yeah. Yeah. So we're in agreement. Box jump stuff and possibly handstand stuff, but everything else is still on the table. And you'll
Yeah.
still go for a long run. You'll still go for a long run.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, once you have your rads.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for the Open. No quarterfinals this year. That's interesting.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of it. I think that's good for gyms too.
Mm.
You know, I know I see that's another thing where I think people got all right. I don't want to be the quarterfinals hater here, but I will be. I think it gave people an unrealistic expectation again of their abilities and like, oh, I'm a quarterfinals athlete now. Meanwhile, they took such a large percentage of people, you
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I just don't like the participatory awards or things like that. Like I like at. Do you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing is, I think it was just another money grab.
Yes, that too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that either. I don't like that either. I don't like giving people maybe a skewed reality of what they're able to do for the sake of $20 or $50, however much it was, by
Yeah.
letting them into a phase where they would have been better off just continuing to train. And I know a lot of people, once they get into that quarterfinal stage, they kind of stop training and they're in more of like a taper or maintenance mode. And
Right.
now it's like, look, from February to April or May, you were in this games bubble thing and you were never going to go to the next stage. And you could have just gotten just 3 weeks of the open done, one and done, hit it, did your test, pass or fail, move on, continue to train and make progress instead of potentially hurting your shoulder or your ankles or your knee and now having to skew your training even longer. Like, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
didn't never seemed worth it to me from an athlete coach perspective. From a business perspective, I understand why they would do that, but I don't think it was needed. And then the stress it puts on the affiliates, especially in the earlier years, where like, hey, you got to have all this tape and make sure that rower's 10
Hmm.
feet away from this, and just the nightmares that happened with that.
Yeah.
Everybody was at least happy last year when they're like, no tape.
Yeah.
Which wasn't there still tape with that?
It just wasn't as strict.
Okay. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Are you happy to see it go? Do you think it's a necessary component to the season?
No, it definitely wasn't necessary at all. In fact, I
Mhm.
think it took away some people's spots in the games because of that whole video review fiasco.
Oh, right from the
Um,
quarterfinals.
yeah, people
So
got bumped out because of
legit games athletes?
um I would
Like, are they
say
bumped out because James McDermott made it and I
no, I
did
think
things
just
that
overall the standards and that type of thing, because it's
okay.
like it's online and maybe people's videos aren't clear, but it's like if you put them all together in a live competition, that person would have been fine.
Oh,
And then
okay.
there's the whole, you add in another layer of video submission, and what if, oh, I forgot to submit my video so I'm out, or you know camera
Which
died while I was going, which is a part of, like, you should have that clear, but I mean it happens. And I mean, I don't
yeah,
think if you're one of the best 40 in the world that, you know I don't think
it should
quarterfinals
keep
is
you.
necessary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember seeing some things about it's like, all right, come on, man. You didn't charge your phone when you knew you were doing this
Right.
important like that part always amazes me when people do stuff like that. Or, they don't have it in a certain way where you like we can't see your feet. Why did you do this? Why didn't you check the frame? Why did you have someone like I don't understand that part.
Yeah.
Like that's just athletes not doing their due diligence or their coach
Hmm.
not like reading the paper because they gave you a piece of paper that said all standards on it. So like doing things with a certain level of care and attention to detail is super important. Um, but yeah, I do get what you're saying that it shouldn't be eliminating the top 40 at that early stage.
Yeah.
So now but the semifinals aren't online now. They're just going to be. Oh
I'm not
no,
sure. I didn't fully read into it,
yeah. Neither did I.
but
I was like,
but again, it's
I saw
like
there was an open, and I was like, all right, that's cool.
it's like another step that's like, it made people feel good to pay an extra $40 to be in the top 25% or whatever. But yeah, overall for the CrossFit Games season, not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand the feel goody part to it. I don't know. Um, the economic part makes sense to me, even though I don't think it's a good precedent to have, or just to elongate the process for athletes and gyms. I think
Right.
the gyms should just be able to get back to their main priority is running the business, running the classes, helping people from the general public, getting more people into CrossFit that aren't doing CrossFit instead of having to be hyper focused on 5 workouts across this time frame and filming it and tape and all that stuff. You know, I don't think that part was necessary. Uh, Advancing people who really shouldn't advance to the next stage of things, and having people get swept up into I'm a semifinals athlete, I'm a quarterfinals athlete, I'm an open athlete. Because now it's kind of like we all used to be one,
Mm,
now you're having like different layers, and whatnot. And like, okay, you're a quarterfinals athlete. Should I care at all? And does that give you prestige? Do you feel like it gives you prestige?
yeah.
Like, do you need that validation? I think there's a deeper thing going on there. If
Mm,
you need these things, I don't know. Um, should it even mean anything? Then you get to semifinals, you put it in your bio, semifinal, 5 time semifinals athlete, that whole thing. I even think it's weird to put how many times you've been to the CrossFit Games in your bio. You
I
know,
mean, yeah, this is a whole separate
this
conversation.
yeah, it's a
I mean,
whole different.
it's like there's
It's all right. It's like in
so much
weightlifting. It's like
money along with social media and
yeah,
all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah,
it's just
agreed.
like in
But
weightlifting. People putting way back in their day in the day. National competitor or something like they've never won and they're never going to win, but they want to put that thing in their bio so
I get it.
badly.
I get it. We
I
live in
don't
a
get it.
different time. It's social media.
We do. I don't. I don't like it. I don't want it to be like the boys where they're looking at like their approval ratings and how many followers they have and stuff like that. Like I don't like that at
That's
all.
where we're at. That's where
No.
we're at.
I want to delete mine so bad, Miguel. Wouldn't you like to just delete all your social media?
Oh, I'm every now and then I get close, but there are fun parts to it.
There are fun parts to it. You know, I've been so close to. I've pretty much done away with Facebook. I deleted the app off my phone. So since it's not on my phone, the only time I get on it is just on the desktop, and that's when there's like a new notification or someone messages me through there. But I don't
Yeah,
do any posting on Facebook, and I unfollowed pretty much everybody. Other than like family. That way, I don't see anything in my news feed. I don't even
yeah.
know what you're complaining about, what's happening here. Like all I get is like Marvel stuff, and
Mm,
I follow an account where it's Doctor Doom memes nonstop. I'm like, what's Doom doing today? That's what I
yeah,
want to know, But like other than that, that's it, Oh, and Lord of the Rings memes. That's what Facebook is. If I maybe eventually I'll delete it, because I keep Instagram around for business reasons, like
right.
the Barbell Club page, the New York weightlifting, Albany CrossFit, all that. And then of course I have my own, but it would be nice because when I got rid of Facebook and Instagram off my phone for like 2 weeks over the summer, it was like freeing. Have you ever
Mm.
tried that for like just delete the apps for just a little while and then get them back eventually? Have you tried that?
Yeah, and I mean, I've even done the thing of like they're not on my like iPhone. You can take them off of like they're in the apps, so you have to search it every time, but you can't just like swipe on your phone and click on it. You'd have to
Yeah,
search it. That has helped a lot because it's not just there in front of my face. If I want to, I have to have the intention of going to it
yeah.
before going to it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
I think it's good for mental health to take a break every now and then on like, and I was so productive. I felt so much more productive like during that 2 week span. Like I was answering emails, I was doing this, I was cleaning, like I was like, because like it really does eat up so much of your time insidiously when like, oh, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes scrolling through nonsense. Why am I doing this?
yeah,
You know, yeah, I would I would like to get rid of it someday. Maybe I've thought about buying one of those phones. You see, you can get a phone where it's like pretty much buying an old phone, just text and call, no
Yeah.
internet, no nothing, no other apps. Have you seen these?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
I've priced them out. I've thought about getting one of those, and maybe no. See, I can't afford to have two phones. I can't afford, or do I want to have a work phone and then a normal phone? Like it should
Right.
just be just the one phone.
Hmm.
But every now and then I try to be very minimalist and get rid of as many apps as possible. No games. I don't do games on my phone. Do you do that?
No.
Yeah, I can't get into the games. Plus, I also don't trust them. Like you see the
Mm.
things where you download a game and it takes your data and stuff like that. Or you download the game and it's not what the
Right.
little commercial said it was. I've been burned too many times with that. I'm like, that game actually does look fun. I would waste so much time playing that game. But then you download it and you're like, what is this piece of crap? That's not. I wanted to do the thing where you drop the blocks down and a layer disappears and stuff. I was going to have so much fun with that. And then it's like nowhere near that. Although the guy from The Boys, Homelander, have you seen that commercial where he's advertising they actually made the game that was fake? They made it real.
Mm. No, I
Have you
haven't
seen
seen it.
the guy from who plays Homelander has a commercial where it's one of those games where like hordes of like creatures are coming at you and you have to like build up your guys and you kill them all and whatnot. They actually made the game.
Hmm.
He's like, you ever see those commercials where you download the game, it's not the game? Yeah, that really bothered me. So I got together with this company and we actually made the game. Watch, it's not
Nice.
real. It's just he's I don't know if I can trust him fully. But so, anyways, I'm looking forward to doing the Open. I've actually been meaning to look through previous years to see what kind of things they've programmed for some of like the foundations or like the really scaled,
Hmm.
just to kind of get an idea of like, all right, I should be ready to do that,
Yeah.
just kind of, or like I should practice that, or how do I think my body would handle that, and then hopefully they keep that kind of division. I think they will. I think
Yeah.
they will. Um, I will get during that time the CrossFit app because I want to participate fully. I want to put my score in and
Right.
whatnot, and then I'll delete it. I don't know. I feel like they should do more with that app. There just never seems to be a reason to keep it all the time.
Right.
I don't know. Have you downloaded it?
Yeah. I have it for the Open. It also helps during like the games also if you want to see like score updates and stuff, it'll
Uh
be
huh.
on there. um but yeah, other than that there's no real reason unless you want to like check your records for things.
Just
But
staring at your records for
yeah.
hours on it. I think it would be cool if they expanded it to include cap.
Mm.
Like if there maybe they do this, but I should download again and check if you could look up the workout for cap and also .com, and then put your score into the app to be on. Like if you're following .com, you can always log your score in the app for the .com workout
Yeah.
or the cap workout. I would consider that. I don't know if they have that kind of integration. It is kind of a little weird how they have cap programming and then .com is separate. They have two
Yeah.
CrossFit programs, because then that opens up the debate on like, well, what one's the official CrossFit programming. Um, I do wish they would just condense that down, one track of programming, and it could be in the app. You could see it as the workout of the day, and whether you're following that workout in your affiliate or on your own, you can put that in, and then maybe have like leaderboards for that, just to see like, hey, how am I doing on that cap workout, or
Yeah.
what are other people getting on that cap workout? Because right now, if you go to .com, you have to click the comments, and people post their scores in the comments the old
Mm.
way. So you can still get an idea of like how long something should take if you're not an affiliate or have a coach. Okay, this guy did it RX in 40 minutes. That guy did it in 8 minutes. I should probably figure out what should
Yeah.
be real. But I do think that aspect would be cool in app form.
Hmm.
Then again, I have no idea what goes into making that a reality
Yeah.
with apps and stuff. So um, I don't know. We just Wodify. But that would be cool to be able to take your score from Wodify in your home gym and see what everyone else in the area doing cap. Like maybe you have a regional thing too, like or a city thing, a zip code thing. All right,
Yeah.
we know that all the gyms in the area are following CAP. If I put my score in the CrossFit app under the CAP workout, well, what did my friend across town at that gym do? That'd be kind of cool to see too.
Hmm.
Look at this. We're gonna have to write CrossFit an email. Get 10%. Not really. All right, cool. Well, Miguel, any thoughts, closing thoughts on anything that we've talked about here? We've talked about a lot centered around the open, gaming workouts, scaling, stimulus a little bit. Just I guess the mindset of competitive stuff in, the regular training class. Any closing thoughts?
No, not really. Just hope that it's a fun experience this year.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I will have to talk on another show. Things we don't want to see in the open.
Yeah.
How about that? Like, there's been some consistent trends that I think it'd be nice for a completely fresh take. Like okay, there's the new toy of shuttle runs. We've done that a couple of years in a row. Does it have to be a staple? Like, can we get rid of some things? Yeah, I would just say I agree. Let's have fun with it. Let's just keep having fun in classes. I know I have a pretty hard stance on philosophy of what I said earlier. I do believe that is the case, and I'll work for it. It doesn't mean I also am not in the favor of fun. It just, there has to be a balance of all of it.
Yeah.
And there has to be realistic expectations on all of it. And we should do things that are productive and that lead us towards success. And we don't hurt ourselves for no reason at all. Like whether it be me doing kipping handstand push-ups and bouncing my head off the floor. Because if I'm trying to win, I know, James McDermott, I will go down a dark path just like you will. But do I need to do that in class, or if I'm not going to advance in that, like for no reason at all, and like not be able to continue to train productively? I don't think so. So I think I want it all. Like, that's the thing. Yes and yes. Have a balance on it and just be smart with things.
Right.
And it's fun to talk about it too. Cool. Well, Miguel, where can people follow you?
On Instagram at Couldn't Be Miguel.
And you can follow me, James A. McDermott, on Instagram. Maybe for not that much longer. We'll see. Hey, if you're listening to this in the future and you can't find either one of us on Instagram, we've broken free.
Yeah.
We're free. We're living different lives. We're sleeping better. We're just everything. We just know that we are free. And then just know too, you could be free as well. Just hit that delete button or suspend that account for a week and see how it feels.
Yeah.
You know what, Miguel? All right. Next time we talk, I think a cool topic would be goals for 2025. Let's talk about some goals that we have for ourselves. I wonder how it would be to spend the first week of the year, no social media. Just the first week. Just like, let's start. Maybe that's one of my goals. 2025, we're starting it off without it, like, and who knows, maybe I'll figure out a way, kind of how I distance myself from Facebook, figure out a new way to kind of do it even less or have it even less involved in my life. But yeah, that'd be an interesting way to, like, hey, let me just start the year off without scrolling and without distractions. And okay, maybe I'll bring it back week 2 because I need it for XYZ, but that'd be an interesting way to start the year off.
Yeah.
All right. We'll continue this topic later. Follow the gym, Albany CrossFit, follow Albany CrossFit Barbell Club, and follow the Barbell Strength Magazine. Look how many accounts there are, Miguel. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right. Everybody, thank you for listening. Miguel, have a good rest of your day.
Yep. Thank you.